with it. Would you like to put your proposal?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Okay, I'm rising to speak to the recommendation agreed by Cabinet at the meeting this afternoon. I read the amendments submitted by Councillor Green, and I can inform him that my group will not be supporting your amendment. Sorry to reject. But let me address the main issues from this debate. Let's be clear what is being proposed in this paper, this report before you. The 6 councils, district councils in Merseyside should formally constitute themselves as a Liverpool City Regional Combined Authority, focusing on some very clearly defined functions: strategic economic development, strategic transport, strategic housing and land-based assets, and strategic employment and skills. Each authority will be represented by one member of its cabinet, who will be the leader or elected mayor. The combined authority will appoint a chair and a vice chair from amongst its members. No remuneration should be payable by the combined authority to its members, and the chair of the local enterprise department will be co-opted onto the combined authority as a voting member. The constituent authorities will also establish a joint overview and scrutiny committee to exercise scrutiny functions over the combined authority. Each authority will appoint 2 elected members of the overview and scrutiny committee, and opposition members will be represented on the scrutiny committee. So why is this model being advocated? I think there are 5 reasons, very briefly, Mr. Mayor, why I think this is the right way forward. First of all, I believe it will improve transparency and accountability. As we know, informal collaboration between the district councils has been taking place on key issues since 2008, when the Liverpool City Region Cabinet was first established. However, these meetings are held currently behind closed doors. There is no formal accountability. The combined authority will meet in public, minutes of meetings will be published, and a scrutiny committee, as I mentioned, can challenge decisions. Secondly, I believe it will be more efficient. At present, collaboration between authorities in the areas I've mentioned takes place by a vast number of various boards, partnership committees, etc. The combined authority will bring all of these issues under one umbrella, and I think it will also lead to some innovative shared service agreements between the councils. Thirdly, I think it will promote more integrated decision making in these areas. By bringing these various functions together under the combined authority, we can make connections between these policy areas. So, for example, we'll be able to ensure that regeneration schemes, which benefit all authorities, take into account opportunities for small businesses, skills requirements, transport, housing, and we can start also to link funding streams such as regional growth funds and European funding. At the present time, too often these issues are all looked at in isolation. Fourthly, I think it will secure effective engagement with businesses by co-opting the chair of the LEP as a voting member of the combined authority. I was told this morning at a meeting of the LEP that the Liverpool City Region Combined Authority is the only combined authority that is actually proposing that the LEP chair has a seat on the combined authority. So we're being innovative in that respect. I think finally, and importantly, I think it will improve Merseyside's chances of securing significant additional resources from government, particularly from the single growth pot and other funding regimes. The government has made it clear that it supports combined authorities and conurbation mayors, and that areas stand a better chance of securing funding growth if they have established one of these 2 governance models. Lord Hasseltine, in his report, No Stone Unturned, makes it very clear in one of his key recommendations that legislation should be passed to enable combined local authorities and other conurbations, should they wish to do so, to elect a conurbation mayor. Now, I've made it clear that of the 2 models being proposed by the government and Lord Hasseltine, I would certainly favour the combined authority. I do not believe a conurbation mayor will benefit Wirral residents. The government's response to Lord Hasseltine's report was published in March 2013 in the name of George Osborne and Vince Cable, and they stated, and I quote, "The government is supporting local authorities that wish to create a combined authority or implement other forms of collaboration, including conurbation mayors." Brandon Lewis, Minister in the Department of Communities and Local Government, in a written answer to a question from a North Eastern MP, said that the government's response to the Heseltine report welcomed the intention of the 7 local authorities in the North East to form a combined authority. Given these views, it's no wonder that many city regions now are going for combined authority: West Yorkshire, South Yorkshire, Greater Manchester. And my fear is that if we do not adopt this policy, that Merseyside will be left behind in terms of accessing this really important single growth pot funding. Mr. Mayor, let me just briefly touch on what I think are 4 myths about a combined authority. The first one is that it will just lead to the dominance of one authority over all the others. I don't believe that will be the case. Each of the authority leaders will have 1 vote. The chair will not have a second or casting vote. And I think we've demonstrated in Wirral in the past year, we're taking the lead increasingly on a whole range of issues in the city region. European funding, shared services. There are plenty of examples, Mr. Mayor, of schemes where we have developed important projects: Wirral Waters, Liverpool Waters, Superport, the Centre for Renewable Energy, Camelairds, and the Mersey Gateway. A combined authority, I think, will strengthen this collaboration and will deliver even greater benefits to the city region. Secondly, it's argued that Merseyside can do just as well by continuing with the informal collaboration. I think I've made it clear that governments are encouraging us to go down this route, and indeed I do believe that we will lose out if we don't. Thirdly, it's been argued that this combined authority will just simply recreate Merseyside County Council. I want to make it clear we're signing up to a set of clearly defined functions: transport, economic development, which classically cut across local authority boundaries. And I think it makes perfect sense for us to work together in a more formal way. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And then finally, it's been argued that the combined authority will just simply create a new layer of bureaucracy and will cost more public money. There's no evidence for this. All the Merseyside leaders have been very clear that given the financial constraints that we're all facing in the public sector and local government, the establishment of a combined authority for the Liverpool city region will not have any additional resource implications for constituent councils and will be cost neutral. So, Mr. Mayor, I believe that this is the right way forward. In terms of the statutory process, as the report sets out, we've done a review of existing governance arrangements. The rules and regulations around this process say that we have to consult on a favoured alternative model. On the basis of government guidance and government advice, we've gone for the combined authority for the reasons I've mentioned. We've done a consultation which overwhelmingly was in favour, and I believe that all constituent councils, all the councils will support this way forward. We have to submit the scheme by the end of September, and the Secretary of State will make a formal decision thereafter, and it will come back to us in March of next year before we hopefully adopt the combined authority in April of next year. So, Mr. Mayor, in conclusion, the reasons I set out, I believe it's important for the Council to approve the establishment of a combined authority for our city region, and I think it's absolutely essential that Wirral plays a full part in this new body. And more importantly, this move is actually and positively being encouraged by the government. I think a combined authority will be more efficient, transparent and accountable than the current fairly opaque arrangements, and I believe it's essential that we move to this model if we are to access key national funding growth, which sort of numbers in the billions. So, Mr. Mayor, in conclusion, I would like to propose that we support the Cabinet recommendation and agree this model as a way forward. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, in proposing the amendment which people now have a copy of, let me be clear. Cross-border working, regardless of political or geographical boundaries, is desirable when it has the potential to deliver real economic benefit. However, the creation of a combined authority on a statutory basis is a step too far. Do we really want to sign up to a scheme that will take an act of Parliament to dissolve Mr. Mayor, officers and Phil telling councillors and the public that the only way to access significant government funding is by creating a combined authority. That is not true. The only option available is a combined authority. Again, is not true. The officers are simply presenting the government's instructions. Again, is not true. I know this, Mr. Mayor, because after writing to the Secretary of State to outline my grave concerns, he called me. Eric Nichols called to say that in order to access, and I quote, in order to access the so-called Heseltine Fund, you do not have to form a combined authority. I shall repeat that, Mr. Mayor. The Secretary of State advises you do not have to form a combined authority. In order to access funding, we have to demonstrate strong governance. We could do this by a variety of options. We could create a joint leaders committee or an economic prosperity board. So why were these other options not consulted upon? Why were they summarily dismissed by officers? Why were the public and local businesses not given an opportunity to take a view on these options? What on earth was actually going on, Mr. Mayor? The creation of a combined authority will leave a significant number of residents with no voice and no access to the decision-making process. And it is now incumbent on Wirral councillors to protect the interests of the people of Wirral. As you know, Mr. Mayor, and certainly as colleagues know, I have real concerns that this is all about, that the resources that will be on offer within a combined authority will be siphoned off to Liverpool, leaving Wirral behind in terms of growth, jobs and investment. And again, point out to members, why Wirral Waters and Liverpool Waters were developed as separate entities. We worked collaboratively with Liverpool and indeed the rest of the city region and went on to achieve Mersey Waters Enterprise Zone designation. But councillors within this chamber fought to protect the rights of Wirral and the creation of a distinct Wirral Waters division. So why does it appear the Labour Party is so willing to give up those rights now, Mr. Mayor? As you know, when the Lib Dems and ourselves took over the council in May 2010, I made the balance in the economy and reducing reliance on public sector employment a prime objective. We made £48 million worth of savings. We enabled 1,196 staff to leave the council voluntarily, avoiding the need for compulsory redundancies. Do you want to repeat that? Avoiding the need for compulsory redundancies, while at the same time we were able to put almost £3 million into supporting the local economy, used to aid new apprenticeships in the private sector to offer enhanced support to our local businesses to help them grow, to help more people into employment, and we reduced the burden of parking charges to support our local shopping areas. So, Mr. Mayor, by glorifying the government's policies then, Wirral, in my opinion, is reaping those rewards now. We've bucked the trend in terms of growth and job creation in the city region since 2011. It's the only authority in the city region that has seen a year-on-year increase in employment rate, a year-on-year decrease in worklessness, and a year-on-year decrease in the numbers claiming job seekers allowance. So, Mr. Mayor, we clearly have something that works, and the people of Wirral, I'm concerned that subsuming Wirral into a Liverpool-dominated combined authority will put that progress at serious risk. So finally, Mr. Mayor, I wish to read the council leader's recent letter to Wirral, or a segment of the letter to Wirral Chamber members, Chamber of Commerce. And I quote, "We firmly believe that our businesses should be supported by a Wirral-based organisation, and as such, Wirral should be looking after its own business community." Well, Mr. Mayor, I agree. And I firmly believe that along with Wirral businesses, Wirral residents should be supported by a Wirral-based organisation, and as such, Wirral Council should be looking after its own community, not signing us up to a Liverpool-centric combined authority. In the light of this, and the Secretary's of State's advice, I believe Cabinet should be
actually offering. And I too read the document, the government's response to the Heseltine review. We can no doubt pick out bits that suit us. But on page 37, it talks about devolving resource and responsibility to those places which can demonstrate credible and compelling economic leadership. On page 39, it talks about managing localised funds through binding and long-lived decision-making structures such as joint leaders committee as a minimum, or combined authority (brackets referral) or other similar arrangements. So it is possible to look at the documents to come to different conclusions. But I've also looked at the plans for Barnsley, Doncaster, Rotherham and Sheffield. So if 9 councils in the Yorkshire area can get their act together and get a bid together and get a document that the government puts out for consultation, then it should be possible for 6 councils on Merseyside to do it and include Bolton. I did read widely on this, and I saw a few weeks ago in the St Helens Star, St Helens aims to have a strong voice on Liverpool City Region Combined Authority. Well, I expect us too to have a strong voice, and I want to get the process right. I said about not looking a gift horse in the mouth, and references have been made to the county council. Well, I was a member of the county council. I remember standing on the 18th floor of the county council offices with the then chief executive of that body, who was keen on building empires. And I remember him saying, looking out the window, said, we could take over the schools. And I told him what he could do with that idea. Things like they always do. But this body is looking at particular restricted areas. It has a time scale for consultation that the government has suggested, which we're working on. And I want to conclude on this issue about who's got a say. In Wirral, surely our job is to involve members in Wirral in designing and working on the projects that are going forward to this body, having a say at that stage, feeding our ideas up and through it, so we can take advantage of any funds available. That is the way I should approach it. Certainly scrutiny may operate at that level, but getting the projects together and involving Wirral people in what our bids should be our job. So we put trust in that body, if it's formed, to get on with the job and help bring the jobs back to Merseyside. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I rise obviously to give total and full support to the recommendation from the Cabinet and to oppose the Tory amendment. And I think it's true to say that the 6 local authorities in the Liverpool City region have got a long history of working together over many years on mutual issues. And this dates back, Mr. Mayor, actually before the development of the Liverpool City Region Development Plan, which came into being in 2007. Now, this was formalised with the creation of the Liverpool City Region Cabinet in 2008 as an advisory body, and more recently the establishment of the Local Enterprise Partnership, and the leader's already confirmed he attends them. He went to a meeting this morning on that one. But one of the drivers behind all this, Mr. Mayor, is to secure greater influence for the residents of Wirral, affecting local growth, including freedoms, flexibilities and funding, important issues for us. Otherwise, these issues would remain within central government. So there's a need for us to signal to businesses and the government that the city region has a clear, consistent and shared view that it will act as a single voice in the interest of all our residents, to the benefit of the whole of the city region, including, most particularly as far as we're concerned, all the residents of the Wirral. Now, the city region generally has worked well to date through a series of ad hoc and informal governance arrangements, but the Liverpool City Region economy is not achieving its full potential, and that's why we've got this issue before us today with a recommendation which I fully support. Because a strong combined authority would be able to bring together key decisions, making powers into a single body, attracting devolved powers from government. So we're going to get more power from government, we're going to get more money from government to facilitate local economic growth. And surely it's our responsibility as councillors to make sure that we get local economic growth as much as possible. Now, Mr. Mayor, Jeff in his speech actually complained about the fact that it'll be Liverpool dominated, this initiative. Well, as I see it, it will not be Liverpool dominated. Unless somebody tells me I've got it wrong, Liverpool is one voice out of 6. They haven't got a veto, so Joe Anderson can't turn around and say, I don't care what everybody else says, this is the way we're going to do it, because we're Liverpool. Liverpool will have one voice out of 6. So if anything, I would imagine there's probably some people in Liverpool who may not be too happy with this, because they might feel they might be outvoted by everybody else, including Wirral. So I think to throw up the argument that it's Liverpool dominated is absolute nonsense and a red herring. Another argument put forward why we should reject this today is because Eric Pickles phoned him up and said he didn't think it was a good idea. Well, with respect, Mr. Mayor, when has Eric Pickles ever shown that he's a friend of people in the Wirral? He's not. Eric Pickles has caused more damage to the residents in the Wirral over the last couple of years than anybody else. So I will not have anybody putting forward an argument here that because Eric Pickles is against something, we should go along with him. Never. Finally, Mr. Mayor. Finally, Mr. Mayor, the final point. Again, Jeff doesn't like the fact, and it's mentioned in his amendment, that we've got 6 Labour-led authorities. Well, if we've got 6 Labour-led authorities, I would imagine that is because the electors in those authorities have elected Labour Party representatives. My advice to the Conservative Party, if you don't like the fact that there's 6 Labour-led authorities, then go out there and try and convince the electorate in those authorities that you should be voting Conservative in the next election. And all I can say is good luck to you in that task. So finally, Mr. Mayor, I would urge everybody to support the recommendation before us from the Cabinet. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To just start by saying to Councillor Kelly, you've got it wrong. You ask for someone to say you got it wrong, you've got it wrong. Mr. Mayor, this evening, Wirral sees Labour telling Wirral residents once again, we know what's best for you. We're not listening to you, we're telling you what's best for you. We're here tonight as council to hurriedly rush through plans to form a combined authority, which is a statutory body, and once in, there is no escape without an act of parliament. We've heard the leader of the council, and no doubt we may hear more from other speakers, that this rush to become a combined authority is being pushed by the coalition government. Mr. Mayor, we've heard the leader say that's not true. I will agree with that, it's not true. Here's the guidance. The guidance says quite clearly that we recognise these arrangements will look different in different areas, and we likely build existing partnerships where authorities may want to consider, for example, a joint leaders committee, economic prosperity board, combined authority, or other arrangements. We're not being given those opportunities, Mr. Mayor. The last sentence of that paragraph says, we recognise a combined authority or economic prosperity board may not be right for all places and will also be challenging to deliver by 2015. So to say this is being forced upon the council by the government is simply untrue, Mr. Mayor. And I cannot stand people who are untrue. I can't understand why we're made a determined to fully Wirral as a statutory body without fully consulting the people of Wirral. Surely with a change as massive as this, the people we're all here to serve deserve a say on what happens to our borough. There's a comment on the Globe site tonight on today's story, and it simply says, didn't see this question in the have your say, and that's quite true, it doesn't appear. It seems we'd like to consult on some things, but things we don't want to get nasty answers on, we might not want to take on. So let's look at the consultation results. It won't take long, Mr. Mayor. It's only 176 out of a combined population of over 1.5 million. And of those, only 26 were members of the public. Why is this, Mr. Mayor? Well, clearly, such a poor response rate means the public are not aware of what's going on. And if one thing I'm here for as the elected member, Mr. Mayor, is to represent the people and to listen to those people who put their trust in me at the ballot box and represent their views, not tell them what is best for them. Mr. Mayor, well, that has worked, and we've heard successfully in collaboration with the local authority, but it's always kept a close eye on other authorities. And I'll quote an example of New Hartlands, when Councillor Davis was cabinet member, and he was always concerned that Liverpool would take the lion's share. To his credit, he made sure that never happened, but he always had one eye over his shoulder, and this is the same with this, believe me. And we will not have the control that George was able to exert. 2 more minutes, guys. 2 more minutes. have to have your own side, isn't it? Mr. Mayor, regardless of what people say, Liverpool will be the dominant partner in this, and that says it all. You know, we have a situation where the leader of the council begged Wirral Chamber, implored the members not to join Liverpool. It seems he's happy to take one part out of this, but sell the council to the other authorities. I find it perverse. Where's his logic in that? If it's good for us all, why is it good for Wirral Chamber, Councillor Davis? Why do you want to separate that out from this? It's clear the leader of the council will labour, Mr. Mayor, and not only selling the people of Wirral down the river, but also across the river. Anyone who votes for this tonight is denying the people of Wirral a say and destroying the sovereignty of this council, and they should be fully ashamed of themselves. Mr. Mayor, I urge council to support this objection.
Councillor Patrick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can I just say at the outset, I mean, I find it fascinating and incredulous to listen to the local Tory views on this, which is a million miles away from their colleagues in Westminster. No matter how we say it, and we heard it both from Councillor Green and Nichols. And also, as Councillor Davis mentioned tonight in his speech, can I just get another quote, if I may? A quote from Local Government Minister Brandon Lewis, who says, "The Merseyside move showed councils could benefit from working closer together by encouraging joint working by local authorities across Merseyside and more widely, and having local authority leaders in a room together," he says, "at one time means decisions can be made quickly." He went further, Mr. Mayor, by saying the combined authority model boosts economic growth and drives forward business success. By looking, he says, at strategic decisions made in this way, and recognising that an area's economy, its roads and rail, don't stop at a local authority border. Well, we couldn't have put it better. That's our argument, and that's exactly what we're saying, and that's what your government minister is saying, the local government minister, and yet you're against it. Can I also ask, Mr. Mayor, is it true, which we've heard, that the junior government minister, Esther McVeigh, is also against this combined
Mr. Mayor, I'm very interested as I look for this.
Okay, and of course, Mr. Mayor, what about the dwindling Lib Dems and their leader, whoever it is? Councillor Gilchrist, I couldn't make out tonight whether you were for it or against it, to be honest. And in the public,
Sorry to interrupt there, Councillor Hackett. I'm further away from Councillor Gilchrist than you are. And I knew exactly what I was saying.
And the public, Mr. Mayor, are under the impression that it's Stuart Kelly who's the leader of the Lib Dems. He's in the